All right, let's talk about a really powerful shift that's happening right now. So many of you in the diaspora are seriously thinking about returning home. And it's not just to reconnect, right? It's to build. With the cost of living going through the roof and policies changing left and right, the pull of opportunity back home is getting stronger than ever. If that sounds like you, then you are in exactly the right place. Think of this as your personal playbook for turning that vision into a real, successful venture.
Okay, let's kick things off with a number that should really make you sit up straight. $1.4 trillion. That's how much consumer spending is happening in Africa today, right now. Just to give you some perspective, India, a market everyone is desperate to get into, actually has a smaller consumer market than Africa does. This isn't some pie-in-the-sky projection, it's the economic reality on the ground. And look, we're not just talking about small-scale shops here, we're talking about major success stories. There are already over 400 companies on the continent pulling in annual revenues of more than $1 billion, that's billion with a B, US dollars. This just proves that building a massive, scalable business isn't just possible, it's happening all over the place.
Now, if today's numbers are impressive, hold on, because the future is where this story gets really exciting. By 2030, which is just around the corner, total spending by consumers and businesses is projected to hit a staggering $6.7 trillion. This is the growth wave you want to be riding. It's honestly one of the biggest economic opportunities on the entire planet for the next decade.
This huge opportunity often gets buried under these old, tired perceptions. The myth you'll hear from folks who don't know any better paints this picture of a continent that's just too complex, too unpredictable, too risky. But the reality, which is backed by hard data, is that this is the world's next big growth engine. It's home to 6 of the world's 10 fastest-growing economies. It's time we start building on reality, not on those dusty old myths.
So, here's the game plan. We've just covered the real story, the numbers behind the hype. Next up, we're going to lay your foundation with a simple 3-step framework. From there, we'll get into the rules of success from an absolute legend, check out how real pioneers are making it happen, and finally, get you started on building your very own blueprint.
Okay, let's get practical. Building a business anywhere is, let's be honest, complicated. But your first steps, your initial thinking, that doesn't have to be. This section is all about giving you a simple but really powerful model to structure your entire approach before you even spend a single dollar.
The wisdom here comes from Dr. Deanne DeVries. And this isn't just some academic theory. She's a veteran of the logistics industry. We're talking over 30 years of on-the-ground, real-world experience across the continent. So her framework? It comes from decades of seeing firsthand what actually works and what definitely doesn't.
And her framework is just brilliantly simple. A, B, C.
A is for appetite. This means you don't just have an idea, you get obsessed with deeply, truly understanding the market. B is for bandwidth. This is where you have to be brutally honest with yourself. What are your skills? What are your resources? How much risk can you really tolerate? And C is for capital. Now, based on A and B, how are you going to strategically fund this thing? This simple model forces you to be clear and helps you sidestep those classic mistakes, like throwing all your savings into a great idea that's in totally the wrong market.
All right, once you've got your ABCs down, you need some rules of engagement for the long game. So what better way to learn than from someone who literally built an empire from the ground up?
We're talking about Jim Ovia, the founder of Zenith Bank. I mean, come on. When Forbes Africa calls you the godfather of banking, you know you've done something right. This is a guy who started his bank in half of a rented duplex and grew it into a multi-billion-dollar giant listed on the London Stock Exchange.
So what was his secret sauce? Well, in his book, Africa Rise and Shine, he lays out his core rules. Build a strong foundation, no shortcuts. Understand the local context. And this is key. Even if you're returning home, don't just assume you know everything, because markets change fast. Embrace technology. That's how you leapfrog the old guard. And, so important, learn from your setbacks and focus on sustainable growth, not just chasing quick wins. These are just timeless principles for building something that's meant to last. Now, principles are great, but seeing them in action, that's what really makes it all click. So let's look at a few real-world examples of entrepreneurs who took these kinds of rules and built incredible businesses right from scratch. This is the proof.
First up, meet Ken Njoroge. He saw the digital wave coming and is now building a billion-dollar Pan-African digital payments company. This is a perfect example of someone embracing technology and thinking way beyond just one country's borders to serve a whole continental market. And hey, it's not all about high tech. Take Ebele Anunwa.
He built a $50 million food and retail empire. His story is just fantastic proof of the massive opportunity that exists in simply meeting the everyday needs of that growing consumer class we talked about earlier. From food to retail, these core sectors are just booming.
This quote from Aidboje Agmahood, who's another banking titan, just perfectly captures the mindset behind all these success stories. He said, "Entrepreneurs simply have to go out and create things for themselves. It's the way we are built." You see, the real driving force isn't just spotting an opportunity. It's that deep internal need to create, to build. That's the spirit that powers it all.
So, you've seen the data, you've heard the wisdom, you've been inspired by the stories. How do you take all of that and make it your personal reality? This is that final crucial step, moving from being an observer to becoming a builder.
Your path forward is actually pretty clear and logical. First, you research. Use that ABC framework to get a deep understanding of your market, your own capabilities, and what you need financially. Second, you learn. Soak up the rules of success from giants like Jim Ovia. Third, you plan. You create your unique blueprint. And finally, and this is the most important one, you act. You take that first decisive step. So there you have it. We've laid out the facts, the frameworks, and the stories of people who have walked this path before you. The opportunity is absolutely undeniable, and now the playbook is right here in your hands. So the only question left is the most important one of all. What will you build?